These days, the scariest thing a bird might do is snatch your sandwich or take a cheap shot at the back of your head during nesting season. You flinch, you curse a little, and that's about it. Birds aren't something most people fear. They're loud, they're fast, but they're not dangerous. Not really. There was a time, not so long ago, when birds weren't just background noise in the ecosystem. They weren't passive, and they definitely weren't harmless. In certain corners of the world and in very specific windows of history, some birds were at the top of the food chain, apex predators with claws, speed, and precision capable of killing prey their own size, or even bigger. And if you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, unarmed, unaware, you weren't safe. New Zealand is one of those places that evolved like nature hit reset and started from scratch. No big land predators, no mammals bigger than a bat. For thousands of years, birds ruled everything from the forest floor to the mountain peaks without any real challenge. And at the very top of that world was Haast's eagle. Now, this wasn't some oversized buzzard or vulture with an attitude. This was the largest eagle that's ever lived. It had a wingspan stretching close to 3 meters, legs thicker than your wrist, and talons the size of a grizzly's claws. When it hunted, it didn't chase. It waited, silent, watching from the canopy or circling above until it locked in on a target and dropped like a brick. Its main prey was the moa, a giant, flightless bird that stood taller than most humans and weighed up to 200 kilos. Slow, heavy, and packed with meat. A perfect target. And the eagle didn't just pick them off, it killed them fast. One strike from above could crush the spine or cave in the skull. This wasn't finesse. It was blunt force trauma delivered with surgical accuracy. For thousands of years, this worked. Moa were plentiful, the eagle had no competition, and the whole system ran on autopilot. And then, we showed up. When the first Polynesian settlers arrived in New Zealand sometime around the 13th century, they didn't walk into a quiet, peaceful paradise. They walked into a fully functioning, bird-dominated ecosystem that had never seen a human being before, and the apex predator watching from above didn't see them as special. It didn't know what a human was. It just saw another slow, two-legged animal wandering into the forest. That's the part that sticks with you. Most predators learn to fear humans. They adapt, they avoid us. Haast's eagle never got that memo. It hadn't evolved alongside people, and so, for a while, it probably treated us like it treated everything else. Potential prey. And that's not just speculation. In Maori oral tradition, there are stories about a huge bird called Pouakai. One so powerful it could kill a grown man and carry him off. For a long time, those stories were dismissed as myth, just another cultural legend. But then, the bones started turning up. Not eagle bones, human bones. Human skulls with deep punctures and crushing damage. Injuries that didn't match weapons, but looked an awful lot like they came from something with talons. Big talons, spaced just like an eagle's grip. That was the first real clue. The second was timing. The moa population collapsed soon after humans arrived. Overhunted, overexploited. And not long after that, the eagle went extinct too. With its food gone, it didn't stand a chance. But for a few generations, there would have been overlap. Moa on the decline, humans spreading through the land, and a giant raptor, suddenly faced with fewer options. And when your survival depends on taking down large, slow-moving animals, and the only large, slow-moving animals left are people, it's not hard to guess what happens next. Haast's eagle is gone, but not all of its kind disappeared with it. Deep in the forest of Africa, one bird still hunts in much the same way, and it doesn't always stick to animals on 4 legs. The crowned eagle doesn't patrol the skies like a golden eagle or hover over open plains. It stays hidden in the canopy, quiet and patient. Most people never see it, but the animals it hunts don't need to. They just need to be underneath it at the wrong moment. It's not the biggest eagle in the world, but it's pound for pound one of the strongest. Its favorite prey includes monkeys, small antelope, even large monitor lizards. Pretty much anything up to 30 kilograms is fair game. It kills quickly, usually with a crushing blow to the skull or spine, then drags the body up into the trees to eat in peace. And if that sounds disturbingly calculated, it gets worse. In South Africa, paleontologists uncovered the fossilized skull of a young Australopithecus, a distant human ancestor around 3 or 4 years old. The damage on the skull was strange. 2 puncture marks at the top, evenly spaced, with other fractures and scratches nearby. It didn't look like a fall. It didn't match the bite of a big cat, but it did line up perfectly with something else, a raptor's grip. When researchers compared the injuries to modern skulls, mostly monkey skulls taken by large birds of prey, the closest match was the crowned eagle. Not kind of close. Spot on. Same talon width, same depth, same pattern. It's now widely accepted that the Tong child, as it's called, was killed by a bird. Not scavenged, not attacked in defense. Hunted, grabbed by the head, skull crushed, and taken off the ground, just like any other primate that day. And that behavior hasn't changed. Even now, there are occasional reports of crowned eagles attacking children in rural villages. It's rare, but not unheard of. In one case, a small child was grabbed in a clearing and nearly carried off before adults intervened. The bird didn't swoop out of fear. It went in for the kill. That's what makes the crowned eagle so unsettling. It doesn't look confused when it goes after a human. It doesn't panic. To it, a toddler isn't all that different from a monkey. And when the forest is quiet and the canopy is thick and there's no one else around, sometimes that's enough. Not every bird that's killed a person did it with purpose. Some were provoked, some were defending territory. Some just don't care how small you are when they kick. But when you look at the injuries and the headlines, it becomes pretty clear. Under the right conditions, birds can absolutely kill. And they have. Take the cassowary. If birds had a "Do Not Approach" sign stamped on their DNA, it would be this one. Native to northern Australia and New Guinea, it looks like a prehistoric turkey crossed with a velociraptor, and it kind of acts like one too. It can sprint through dense forests at over 50 kilometers an hour and launch itself claws first when threatened. And those claws? Sharp enough to disembowel a grown man. It's happened before. In 2019, a cassowary in Florida killed its owner, not in the jungle, not during some freak accident, but in a fenced yard. One moment he was on the ground, the next, the bird was on top of him, and that was it. Then there's the ostrich. It's not predatory either, but it doesn't have to be. This bird is almost 3 meters tall, weighs over 100 kilograms, and has legs built like spring-loaded sledgehammers. Most of the time they run, but when they don't, they kick. And people have died from it. Farmers, zookeepers, even tourists. A single well-placed strike to the chest or head is all it takes. And then there are the stranger stories, the ones people argue about. In Central Asia and parts of Mongolia, there are long-standing rumors of golden eagles swooping down and grabbing small children. Nothing confirmed, but nothing completely ruled out either. These are the same eagles trained to hunt wolves, after all. They've been documented dragging off foxes, goats, and young deer. The idea that a child could be within their weight range, it's not impossible. It's just never been captured on camera. Most of these cases aren't about birds behaving like predators, they're about power, size, speed, instinct, all crashing into the wrong moment. But when it happens, the result's the same. Someone dies, and the thing that killed them flies away. It's easy to assume that any giant prehistoric bird must have been dangerous, but looking scary and being a predator aren't always the same thing. Take Titanus, for example, North America's very own terror bird. It stood about 8 feet tall, weighed over 150 kilos, and could probably chase down just about anything. Sounds like a nightmare until you look at the timeline. Titanus went extinct almost 2 million years ago. Humans didn't arrive in the Americas until much, much later. So as terrifying as it was, we missed each other entirely. Then there's Genyornis from ancient Australia, one of the so-called thunderbirds. It was huge, maybe 2 meters tall and built like a tank, but most paleontologists agree it was likely herbivorous. Its beak wasn't hooked like a raptor's. And its skeleton doesn't show any signs of the classic predatory adaptations. It probably wasn't hunting anything, and if anything, we were the ones hunting it. Burned eggshells at archaeological sites suggest early humans were raiding Genyornis nests for food, not running from the adults. In both cases, the birds were big, they were strange, and they're easy to drop into scary headlines. But when you dig into the details, the story's not quite so dramatic. They looked like monsters, but in the end, they weren't the ones we had to fear. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment with what you would like to see in the following videos. Thanks for watching. See you next time.